Testing 1, 2, 3. Now it's picking up my mic. Hello, Steve. I'm actually interested in your opinions on this. I don't know if you've seen any of the drama with it, with Sykkuno. You have not. Okay, so there's a lot of things that are going on with this. There's a lot of drama that's going on with this. And the drama... Hmm. It makes me feel sad for the women in, like, Gen Z. They are either really super manipulative or they have been failed or failed themselves. Something has gone wrong. Hey, Kat. So I've seen a lot of reactionary content to this already, and I wanted to put my own thoughts out there as a woman, because a lot of the content that I'm seeing is from men, and I feel like a woman's perspective would be beneficial here, because from a sense of, you know, accountability, it's one thing for men telling you to take accountability, but it's another thing for a woman to tell you that you've really fucked up and you need to take accountability. In my personal opinion, there needs to be pressure to say that across the board this was not okay. It's not just men saying it's not okay, it's across the board this is not okay. Right, Cat? Okay. So we're gonna start with this video. This is not the video that Kat found for me. From what I've seen and heard, very manipulative and anti-accountability. Yeah, anti-accountability is so everywhere. Alright. So we're gonna start here. This video is what started all of the drama. This video was put out by a VTuber who covers a lot of drama, and generally speaking, up until he put this video out, he was considered to be very knowledgeable and very based, did his research before he put out a hit piece on people. But then this video came out, and he is being attacked as much as the people who he's covering are being attacked, because he did a very shoddy job with how he did this. Like, he took someone's word and he did not fact check it. He did not check anything with it. He just put it out there. And you don't want that in the people that you're getting your info from. You want them to know their shit and be able to tell you pretty accurately. And unless you're just looking for people to agree with you, then you're also looking for someone to come at it from a pretty objective standpoint, where you look at it from in the middle, not from one side or the other. So at least that's what I look for when I go to find, you know, any kind of information about situations going on. I want an objective view. I don't want a biased view. All right, so we will start with this.
My girlfriend of 4 years has recently become obsessed with a male streamer, and I feel really uncomfortable about it. This was
Sykkuno was a
relationship advice
massive Among Us streamer. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that Trixie may actually have him as one of the streamers she suggests and highlights on her, you know, I'm not live right now, but you can go and visit this person. If I'm remembering right, I'm thinking that it might be him. Maybe. Could be someone else, though, because I was thinking hers was a Phasmo streamer. So it may not be hers.
Is that barely just a few days after making that initial post, he'd end up breaking up with his girlfriend. Her obsession with that streamer was that irrational. And during that time, she wasn't the only one who might have felt this way. That's because the male streamer in question here was none other than Sykkuno, a name and face that had become a core memory of the COVID-19 pandemic, more specifically when everyone was locked up in their homes. In the span of less than a year, he would go from having 1,000 average viewers on Twitch to 50,000, even having a stream where he peaked at over 100,000 concurrent viewers. What he'd be most known for was his gameplay of Among Us with his friends, who happened to be very big content creators as well. Not only would he get tens of thousands of concurrent viewers on Twitch, but he would get millions upon millions of views on his YouTube channel as well. And while his rise to fame is definitely incredibly impressive, what was truly unparalleled here is his extremely high ratio of female viewers, confirmed to having been higher than any of his other content creator friends. His handsome look, his anime sounding voice, and his witty jokes made women go rabid. In fact, there was also a joke that he would turn male fans gay. But what made him really desirable is just how socially awkward he was.
Yes, that's true, Kat. So I'm starting with this video because this came out before the woman came out to add her 2 cents in. I remember watching one person and I don't remember who it was, but they were just like, yeah, Mujin here is trying to farm victims. He's wanting people to come out of the woodwork to say that Sykkuno was bad and Sykkuno did all of this bad stuff. That's what this video was supposed to do, which the video you sent me is the victim cry of, yes, Sykkuno wronged me. So that video was a direct result of this video. From what I'm understanding. If I'm wrong, someone can correct me.
He was innocent in an endearing way. He was a boy failure that needed a woman to fix him. In a nutshell, he was this picture, almost allergic to other women. He just couldn't handle anything romantic. He would get too flustered. This made many of his fans want to be the one to finally fix him. But make no mistake here. This was
it could have been
perfectly
XQC.
crafted image that he had made for himself. He wanted you to think that he was innocent, naive, a boy failure.
It might have been a Tozy, though.
And would never hurt a fly, because in reality, behind this mirage, this illusion, there was a master manipulator, a serial cheater, and a predator. Someone who would make it a point.
That right here, that word right there, Steve, is the one that got everyone up in arms. They're calling him a master manipulator, a serial cheater, and a predator. Now, I want to see the definition of predator. A person who ruthlessly exploits others. Yeah, I can raise the volume. Sorry. Oh shit, it's really low. Okay. One who injures or exploits others for personal gain or profit. For personal gain or profit. Okay. Injures or exploits.
For many years to target smaller
Is that better,
content
Steve?
creators, take full advantage of the fact that he was one of the most desirable men in the streaming world, all while making it seem like he had no experience with women and that it just might be romantic. They just might be that special someone who can fix him.
Good.
What he would somehow forget to tell them, though, is that he had been in a monogamous relationship since 2021. But you don't have to take my word for it, because he admits to everything in a recorded voice call with the victim herself. And on top of that, that same victim, who goes by the name of Hemamal VT, would choose to write a Google Doc that shows the entire timeline, her and Sykkuno's DMs together, as well as the DMs of another victim that actually slept with Sykkuno while being totally oblivious to the fact that he has been in a relationship since 2021. This might be one of the most
Okay.
impactful and longest running lies in content creation history. I want to thank the two victims in question for trusting me with this very heavy topic and for allowing me to make the first comprehensive video on it. So without further ado,
A little.
let's get
I can
right
turn it up some more
into this
too.
mess. All right,
There
so
we go.
first off, who the hell is Sykkuno? Well, before starting his streaming career, he actually used to be a software engineer working in the Bay Area of California. His monotonous office life would change forever though when he would meet Lily Pichu, a well-known content creator who actually
Hey,
started
Zygarde.
making content as far back as 2012. However, when they met, she was far from being the very well-known content creator that we know today. It was back during the Season 3 World Championship for League of Legends during the year of 2013, so barely a year into her content creator journey. Sykkuno would be aware of her content. He'd reach out to her and would want to meet her, seeing that they're both at the same place. Lily Pichu agreed, thinking, oh, am I about to meet a fan? That's awesome. She'd be absolutely shocked when that fan would show up with a massive bouquet of flowers. As she was about to thank him, he would run away back to his cousins. According to him, these were his only friends at the time. He was that lonely. He was simply too embarrassed to interact with her further. This interaction left a good impression on Lily Pichu, and they kept in touch for years to come. In fact, as she would start her
Very
streaming
welcome,
journey,
Steve.
she'd play with her friends, and one of those friends would be Sykkuno. Her viewers would start to express interest in him, especially seeing that his voice sounded like an anime character. There was genuine demand in her community to know what he looked like. What they didn't know though was that Lily Pichu had already shown him. He was there with her when she went to Summoners Con 2015, and he was right there with her in her vlog. But most of her community were simply not aware of this. So seeing that there was growing demand to see what he looked like, they decided to do a face reveal live on Lily Pichu's stream around the year of 2019.
Yeah. You're such a oh, okay, here we go. Wait, you're actually so much braver than I thought.
Only because you're here.
Alright, I'm ending stream.
Just get up.
And as you can see, the chat was definitely not disappointed. In fact, Lily Pichu had such an impact on Sykkuno that she would be, well, the main reason why he would start streaming. And you can hear him say that himself.
So what convinced you to start
Well-
streaming?
Oh, Lily, actually.
And speaking of streaming, he
Gazer?
would start doing so shortly after revealing his
What do
face
you mean,
on Lily
Gazer?
Pichu's stream. He
Stargamer
started at the beginning of
Lilies.
2019 with barely
Stargazer
under 100
Lilies.
viewers, but
Got
as the
it.
months would go by, he would start to get very rapid growth. He would really start putting in serious hours by August 2019, and within just 1 year, by August 2020, he'd be sitting at 8,000 average viewers,
Predictive
reaching a peak
text.
of 15,000. But how? Why? Well, during his streams, he would continue playing with Lily Pichu. And seeing that Lily Pichu has a lot of big content creators that she calls friends, she would introduce them to Sykkuno. It turned out that this guy was very easy to talk to. He was witty, he made jokes, and the communities of the many streamers actually enjoyed his company. All of these factors combined would be the perfect catalyst for when the quarantine season of COVID-19 would arrive. He would start to play the game Among Us with some of the biggest content creators on the planet, and within just 4 months, he would go from 8,000 average viewers all the way up to 50,000 average viewers, peaking at 100,000 viewers in one stream. He was gaining
Okay.
500,000 followers every single month. In just the span of like a year and a half, he had gone from being a mid-tier streamer to one of the biggest on the entire platform. It wasn't just Twitch though. He would be getting millions upon millions of views on his YouTube videos as well. He was killing it on every single platform he was on. And so by 2022,
Okay.
when YouTube was aggressively recruiting Twitch streamers to stream on their platforms instead,
I
offering
remember
them
that.
multi-million-dollar deals, they targeted Sykkuno, seeing that
Oh,
he's
the flowers
extremely
he
brand
gave her.
friendly,
Got
has
it.
a very loyal audience, and had become a household name in such a short time. So on May 2nd, 2022, he would announce to the world,
Hold on. I will be right back. I have to step away for a second. One, see me. Okay.
that he was
I decided
moving
to sell my
YouTube on a
vacuum. It was
2-year
just
exclusive
collecting
contract.
dust,
And as
lol.
you can tell by the engagement,
That's a good
this
one.
post went viral. What I really want you to understand though is just how valuable he was seen by companies and platforms. Back when YouTube was aggressively recruiting talents that were on Twitch, Twitch and their confidence and hubris, seeing that they completely dominated the streaming scene at the time, would never bother offering a counter offer. On the very rare occasion that they did, it was a very big deal, and guess what? They made an exception to Sykkuno. They gave him a counter offer higher than YouTube. Sykkuno would go back to YouTube and show them Twitch's new offer, and YouTube would offer to pay even more. His contract alone is estimated to be around $5 million. Sykkuno, though, also had interests in other communities, such as VTubers. In 2023, for an April Fool's joke, he would debut his first VTuber model, extending his reach to a new niche community. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because at some point he was invited
Now that I'm
to a
thinking about it,
call
I don't
with
know if
Senator
Mujin
Bernie
is a
Sanders
VTuber. He
alongside
just may cover a
Valkyrie
lot of
and Pokemon.
VTubers.
And instead of showing his face, he chose to be a VTuber. This was so ridiculous, and it went so viral that he inadvertently kind of became a spokesperson for VTubing in one stream. I mean, God, everyone wanted a piece of that guy. You would see him everywhere, collabing with everyone. And this was partly due to his very loyal and almost rabid fan base. But it was, of course, all by design. You see, back in 2023, Pokemon would make the very interesting revelation that Sykkuno had the highest female demographic fan base compared to any other streamer, her included. She would compare his level of fame and the way his fans acted towards him to K-pop idols. He simply wasn't seen like the run-of-the-mill Twitch streamer. No, there was definitely more to this. And one of the main reasons why this worked out so well is because he was
Get a
seen
reservation
as
at the
a
library.
boy failure.
Completely booked.
No, not the kind of guy who's unemployed and lives in a dump and smells like shit. I'm talking about the ideal boy failure. The guy who's handsome, smells nice, doesn't live in a dump, but is instead just a hopeless romantic. Someone who turns all red when you want to initiate physical contact. The most innocent, naive soul imaginable. The appeal of a boy failure isn't necessarily that he's a failure. It's the fact that he's perfect, but just needs one person to fix him. And that's how a significant chunk of his fan base felt. If you've watched my channel before, then it's not too different from a girl failure that has a male audience that wants to fix her. It's the same parasocial mess. This can be very easily seen in some of the most viral fan-made videos of Sykkuno, like this one for example, setting at over 3 million views. Sykkuno tells his trauma about girls. Sykkuno trusts his friend, Disguised Toast, more than the girls. So this guy had barely any romantic experience, and yet still, he had his heart broken. He needs a woman that will fix him and tell him it'll be okay. And maybe she'll be one of his fans. If only he knew how handsome and amazingly desirable he was though. Because he's another fan-made video. Everyone's simping for Sykkuno because who doesn't? I mean, God, if only he wasn't a boy failure and understood how smooth he was with women. But he's too naive. Because guess what? This video, sitting at over 4 million views, is titled Sykkuno being smooth with girls for 14 minutes. Yeah, I think you get the point by now, right? This image of him that was so carefully crafted would attract a very large female audience. It would also allow him to be one of the only male streamers to constantly be able to hang out with a majoritarily female friend group without him or them getting in trouble with their fan bases due to jealousy. The guy was innocent, allergic to love, and he wouldn't hurt a single fly. This allowed him to do things that other male content creators could never do. Like, dude, this is him sniffing the armpit of Fuslie at some point during a podcast.
Ew, I say ooh to that.
This is how much he was trusted around women. And even though his audience was very obsessed over him, they saw him as so awkward, so incapable of understanding what love or social cues mean that this was fine. They didn't mind, because they were going to be the ones to fix him anyway. So it comes as no surprise that yes, some relationships literally ended over the girl's obsession over him. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if some gay relationships ended because of the same reason too. He was just that much of a sensation, and that crafted image he built around himself was just so believable and convincing. And so he'd keep on doing what he's always done.
Okay.
And after his 2-year contract,
this isn't just reacting to Sykkuno.
He would make his grand comeback to Twitch, peaking at over 26,000 viewers. However, his viewer count would slowly begin to drift. And by April 2026,
we're reacting to a lot of the content, like the full drama.
Viewers, a far cry from the peak of the pandemic back at 50,000. He'd also stopped collabing with larger content creators as much as he used to, mostly sticking to himself. But hell, I mean, 1,600 average viewers is still very easy to make a living off of. He had made his millions of dollars, had this incredibly obsessive fan base. As far as content creator careers go, this really wasn't so bad. The guy was a multimillionaire. What people weren't aware of, though, is that for many years since becoming a viral sensation, he would use his status as Sykkuno, as the most desirable streamer.
So here's the thing, Rocky. The only bad thing that he did was be a cheater. Like, he cheated on his girlfriend, and he cheated on other people and his little side pieces. So he's a crappy guy. Okay. Oh. So I don't think he's a good person, but I think he's also getting the short end of the stick, which is what we're reacting to with the other allegations. Okay, you say that, but he's being accused of SA. Like, yeah, it's bad. It's not something I would trust. Like, I couldn't trust someone who is a serial cheater. But going from that to being a predator, like a life-ruining accusation, I don't think he deserves that.
Imaginable as this K-pop idol to pursue relationships with smaller or up-and-coming content creators, whether they be cosplayers or VTubers, manipulating them into thinking that they were special, all in the hopes of hooking up with them and while being in a monogamous relationship. This is the real Sykkuno. And now we finally have proof. Hemamol VT, who I'll refer to as Mal from now on, is someone who has been making content for the last year. She occasionally streams from time to time, but also tends to post cosplays on her Twitter profile, some of them being revealing. Those revealing cosplays would catch Sykkuno's attention, and he'd follow her on Valentine's Day of 2026. Within barely a few days, he would start talking about how they should move in together into the same house, all while having a girlfriend. When Mal would find out about the girlfriend, she would decide to write a Google document. The Google document would contain Mal's side of the story as well as Elfie Leah's side of the story. Another VTuber who, of course, also posts cosplays from time to time, which is why Sykkuno was interested in her to begin with. She also had no idea that Sykkuno had a girlfriend and would meet up with him during December 2025 in Paris when he would travel for a convention. Unlike Mal though, she would actually end up sleeping with Sykkuno, again, completely oblivious that he has a girlfriend. They would both share their stories and the DMs with Sykkuno
could be
in
a
the
case
Google
of sour
document.
grapes
This
and
document would be
bitterness.
32 pages long, and it would detail both of their experiences with Sykkuno, leading up to the revelation of the
Okay, so hold on. I thought it was amazing that such a big content creator even knew I existed, let alone followed me on social media. He had been my role model and someone I looked up to for a long time, ever since my days in high school. However, what I learned about Sykkuno after that day would make me regret my decision. Sykkuno is not the kind, soft-spoken character you see on stream. He is a serial cheater, liar, and manipulator who uses his status to get what he wants from as many women as possible. More specifically, ones who are smaller or up-and-coming content creators, knowing that he can take advantage of them, which is dirtbag behavior. Cheater, liar, manipulator. Yes. From everything I've heard, that is accurate. But then trying to say that he SA'd you when you never told him no or never gave him any signs that you didn't want to, that is a step too far. Like, that is life-ruining accusations. And I don't think that it's something people should use just willy-nilly. I don't think it should be used as a joke. I don't think that, in my belief, the way that we are turning it into a joke makes it less valid when people are trying to actually claim it. So if everyone is saying it and then you turn around, oh, it was just a joke, then you're not going to really believe it when someone comes up and says it and they're being serious. So anything that is criminal behavior, I feel like should not be used in a joking manner because you are minimizing the validity of other accusations that are true.
fact that he has a girlfriend, as well as a link to the full 17-minute YouTube video in which Mal would confront Sykkuno about cheating on his girlfriend with her. Here's how it would start off. On Valentine's Day of this year, I was followed on Twitter by Sykkuno. I thought it was amazing that such a big content creator even knew I existed, let alone followed me on social media. He had been my role model and someone I looked up to for a long time, ever since my days in high school. However, what I learned about Sykkuno after that day would make me regret my decision. Sykkuno is not the kind, soft-spoken character you see on stream. He is a serial cheater, liar, and manipulator who uses his status to get what he wants from as many women as possible. More specifically, ones who are smaller or up-and-coming content creators, knowing that he can take advantage of them. After confiding in many others that have had similar experiences with Sykkuno, I realized that this was not an isolated incident. In fact, it was something that had been going on for multiple years. He always made sure to cover his tracks and never left a paper trail significant enough for someone to make this public. But now, this has all changed. These are serious allegations, and I fully understand that this should not be treated lightly.
Okay, so I think Sykkuno is a dirtbag. From the things that have been said. Because I'll let it continue for now.
All other content creators who have been personally affected by Sykkuno's behavior to not remain silent, as I believe that there is strength in numbers. This document will not only include proof from me, but from another victim who has given me her consent as well. Below, you will find evidence.
So here it looks like he's calling out for other people to say that they've been a victim. Without evidence, it definitely creates a problem for people who have gone through it. Well, here's the thing. She's going to explain the situation. And I think the next video is her coming out as a victim of Sykkuno and claiming SA. But in my opinion, she is either being so manipulative herself of the story that she's trying to get sympathy and become that victim, or she has been failed by herself for not listening to the people trying to teach her, or the teachers who may not have taught her well enough. Something broke in the system, if she is being completely honest, and is not trying to play the victim card. Not just trying to play the victim card.
That will expose this calculated pattern of love bombing and manipulation, as well as a recording of a voice call where he explicitly admits to all his wrongdoings, everything. Alright, so already this is one hell of an intro to the document, right? One thing I want to point out is the
and I don't
urging
think
of
that
all
should
other
be,
content creators who
Steve.
have been personally.
I think that our right to free speech has gotten to the point that it is impacting the ability for the government to effectively do their job. And the government, I'm meaning police. Because you can say absolutely anything under the banner of I have free speech. It could be that. I'll go into that when we get to that part, Kat. Sorry, I keep pausing. Let's continue.
Affected by Sykkuno to come out.
Because this is a long
As I already
video.
mentioned, there are many people who were affected by his actions throughout the years. In fact, if Sykkuno traveled to any expo or convention or event, then you can bet a hefty sum of money that he always had someone there who he flew out, hoping.
Which is what
that he could
Steve
bring
said,
them
by the
to
way,
his
her
hotel
having a
room.
case of
Anyway,
sour
the
grapes.
next section of the document would be titled Our First Conversation. After Valentine's Day, I was so excited about him following me that I told a friend, who then urged me to strike up a conversation. I finally worked up the courage to send him a DM, and he replied right away. So here we can see on the 15th of February, Mal would send, "Are you still looking for a Valentine's date, perhaps?" To which Sykkuno would say, so innocently, "What? You can't just open up with something like that? And besides, Valentine's Day's almost over where I'm from already." To which she would reply with, "I mean, we can always do a Valentine's Day do-over, you know?" In the same first conversation, he brought up what kind of games he liked to play and invited me to play with him after a convention. On the left image, we can see them discussing sleep schedules, right? Understanding what time it is for her, what time it is for him. On the right image, we can see him say, "What games do you like to play? I'm like a massive game player. That's usually how I meet people or make friends, to be honest." In the next couple of images, we can see Sykkuno talk about the game he was playing, which was Outlast Trials, saying that maybe Mal could carry him. She would agree, give him her Discord, and then wonder, "Hey, are you done soon with your stream? Because I'm getting tired." She hadn't slept all night. She was pulling an all-nighter. He'd apologize for taking so long, and then he'd say that he has a convention to go to. So after making her wait for like a few hours, he would say, "Hey, listen, can we just play tomorrow? I have a convention to go to." And they would agree, "Okay, let's play after the convention." This is what would lead us to the next section. Interest in where I live. For context, this is still the same day as the first conversation.
Okay, so... Man, you had me waiting for a rain check. I mean, a game or two wouldn't hurt though, right? So she's already seeing...
Play tomorrow, I have a convention to go to, and they would agree, "Okay, let's play after the convention." This is what would lead us to the next section. Interest in where I live. For context, this is still the same day as the first conversation, only moved to Discord and a few hours apart since I'm EU time zone and he's US time zone. So yeah, these DMs have the timestamp of 10 a.m. EU time. The last DMs we can see on Twitter were at 9 a.m., so this is barely an hour later after they added each other. Mal would continue by saying, "Things started out innocently enough with him inquiring about fun things to do near where I live, such as aquariums and conventions, TwitchCon EU specifically. I'd like to point out that I said we could go on a date to make up for Valentine's. He not once expressed to me any discomfort or that he wasn't single." So yeah, this is how it goes. If someone expresses interest in you, right?
I turned up the speed a little bit.
Quickly that you're already in a committed
Let
relationship.
me know
You
if it's
don't
too
let things
fast.
slide. Mal had no reason to think that Sykkuno was already taken. Otherwise, he would have said something after she proposed a date. He'd ask, "Did they have an aquarium? I'm a big fan of aquariums." She'd say, "There's artists in Amsterdam. Could make it a date, to make up for Valentine's." He'd only reply with, "A what? Lol?" Continuing on with his innocent persona, but he'd never say, "Oh, no, actually, wait, like, I want to meet up as friends. I'm actually in a relationship." Not once. The next section will be titled, "Following my private Instagram." He would also follow my personal private Instagram that is only available to my IRL friends and family while using his official Sykkuno account. So here we can see an image of Sykkuno following her, with her personal account name being hidden since it's personal. The next section will be titled, "Making Plans to Meet Me in Person." So bear in mind, this was the next day, okay, the 16th of February. They had started talking on the 15th, he followed her on the 14th. The document would say, "In this 2-hour Discord gaming call, the same day as our first conversation, Sykkuno made plans to meet me IRL. It was set to be the same weekend as Dokumi 2026 since he was flying over anyway to attend TwitchCon EU. Going to the aquarium would be our first date. I also learned that there is a 15-year age gap between us."
Okay, I do not have a problem with a 15-year age gap as long as everyone is legal and consenting. Is it unusual? Yes. 15 years is a long time. I did not. What's that about, Rocky? So it's not usual for a 15-year age gap, especially for someone in their 20s or like early 20s with someone in their like 30s, because the life experience from one to the other is pretty drastic, I would say. But once you get into your 30s, I feel like you're understanding life a little bit better and how things are going. So an age gap in the other direction doesn't seem like it could be, like it would be very unusual, so to speak. Age is just a number. A lot of things go into experience. So everyone's legal. I don't have a problem with this. It appears like they do have a problem with this because they have not only stated it as though it is shocking to them, but they have bolded this in this document.
Right, so look, I personally spoke to the victim about this. I asked, like, would that usually have been like a red flag or a turnoff? She said yes. But the thing is, this is Sykkuno we're talking about here, right? So she made an exception because, as you saw in the intro of this document, she used to watch him in high school. She genuinely looked up to him. To say that she was starstruck was an understatement. And that's
Okay. She may have been starstruck, but she is an adult. And if she has said that a 15-year age gap is a turnoff, then why is, like, I understand that she's saying her reason is because it is Sykkuno. That is a very bad mindset to have. And this goes into either her being extremely manipulative or people being extremely manipulative, or girl, this is not the same person that puts out the allegations. So I'm not exactly sure of the circumstances, but there has been a failure there in the learning process, either from the instructors or from her not actually learning. So just because they're famous or they're a popular person should not change your morals and values. And if it does, then you have something that you need to address within yourself, because either those are not your morals and values, or you are allowing yourself to be manipulated. Exactly, Steve. I agree with that. You never know what people are like behind the camera. Yep, that is true, Kat. That is 100% true. So, she needs to realize, if this is kind of her go-to thing, she needs to realize that that is a vulnerability and a weakness that she has, and she needs to actively make sure that she keeps to her morals there. Or don't look back on it retrospectively and say, well, I really regret this, so I'm going to make a big deal about it because I made a mistake with my judgment and went against my morals. It is now everyone's problem to hear.
Exactly what he was counting on. Now, while keeping that 15-year age gap in mind, this next section definitely hits different. It's titled, Making Plans to Move In Together. These messages would be on the 17th of February, 2 days after they started talking. It would say, with Sykkuno, our relationship moved so incredibly fast it almost felt like a dream. It was like he could make anything I wanted happen, and as someone as prolific and successful as him, I had no reason to doubt anything he said to me. These screenshots show that Sykkuno and I were intending to adopt a cat and have me possibly move into his house. I told him we couldn't get a cat yet due to me not being a US citizen and possibly having visa issues.
She's just being stupid here. She's being 100% stupid. You do not know what you're getting into if you have known them for 2 days and you're planning to move in together. There is a problem there. If you're planning to move in together as a relationship, there's something different if you're moving in and you're roommates and you've never met before and, oh my goodness, it's dorms and college town and we've got an apartment and I have to have a roommate. Like, there's a difference. A roommate is different from a partner you're moving in with. And if you're moving in with them and considering that after 2 days, you are being so irresponsible, you need to go back to your mama's teat.
Keep in mind, this conversation happened 2 days after the first conversation. So in this first image of these set of DMs, we can see them talking about pets in general, right? About how he might be allergic to certain pets, about how his current dog doesn't trigger his allergies. So they start discussing the prospect of getting a cat. Mal would say, I mean, if I'm there anyways, we'll have to think of a name, no? To which Sykkuno would say, yeah, but I don't know if I can take care of it myself. Mal would say, or we're just gonna name it Cat. He'd say, you'll have to stay to help take care of it, lol. To which she'd say, I'm okay with that, though I don't know how that would work with me staying there. I can't stay forever either, you know, because I'm not an American citizen. I'll also probably have to go back as well, because I mean, I hope at least that I can go back to studying end of this year. And like in general, everything is so expensive. Then he'd say, oh yeah, that's true. Okay, maybe we can get a cat together another time then. Besides, don't you already have a cat? Which she'd say, yeah, but they're my dad's. Also, did you finally order the food? And he'd say, oh, I see. So you wouldn't have to bring them if you just moved somewhere. To which she'd say, no, I guess not though. I'd miss them so much, so I definitely have to get new pets. So
what about the food? He'd never answered.
Sykkuno was out here discussing getting a pet together, taking care of it, raising it together, and looking into the possibility of her maybe
did he order the food
with him one day. This was as he was sharing a home with his girlfriend. The next section will be titled Lying About Being Single and Dating History. In this screenshot, Sykkuno said he has only ever had one relationship his entire life. I would eventually find out that that was a lie, that he had been dating and living in the same house as his girlfriend for years.
It is so irresponsible. I could not imagine just up and moving all of my stuff into someone's apartment because I might be, quote, in love with them, which, Steve, you're right, that's lust, that's not love. But, you know, young brains and how they think, they would think that that was love. I could not imagine doing that in 2 days' time. You don't know enough about that person to trust that they're not an axe murderer. Like, you don't know this person. It is terrifying. It causes heart palpitations to think about moving in with someone after 2 days and I'm going to jump into bed with him. No.
But I was not the only girl on the internet that he spoke to on a daily basis. So here we can see DMs of them discussing this topic. Mal would say, I mean, you've been in relationships before. It's not like it's your first relationship, referencing what they might potentially have going on. To which he'd reply with, I don't know, lol. I've only like actually dated someone once and they broke up with me, so yeah, I think I'm just not very good, so it's probably just a me issue. To which he'd say, did you like never do anything for your ex, like at all? To which he'd say, I mean, I think I did. I don't think she thought I did, so yeah. But I mean, everyone has their own way of what they want, so it's important to be like, are you getting what you want? And if you're not, I totally understand. Mal, of course, would want to inquire as to what he was saying, like, what do you mean you think you did? Like what? But he'd never specify, and he'd always keep it vague, keeping up this persona that he crafted, the one that was allergic to love, that had no idea like what was going on with women. This would lead us right into the next section titled sexting. We texted every single day, and these interactions would be charged with flirting and suggestive topics. I would send him suggestive pictures and audios, and he would confirm that he'd touch himself to them. Additionally, he'd always act flustered and inexperienced,
after how
keeping up the
long?
illusion of his on-stream innocent persona. We'd also regularly...
And to be fair, after how long, you know... I don't consider sexting the same as everything else. Like, being extremely flirtatious in texts and stuff. I mean, you put it out there, you put it out there. You risk other people seeing it if you do that. But on screen, in words or pictures, it's not exactly the same as jumping into bed with someone. I'm getting kids reading these DMs. So, there's not an intimacy in them. There's a lot of angst, and especially if they're out in public, there's got to be some kind of kink for reading that stuff while you're in public. There has to be. Like, I am assuming that they're talking about this and like they're doing this throughout the day. And there's probably a lot of, oh, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm doing it anyway happening with this stuff. And it is not, in my opinion, the same as jumping into bed with someone. Like, how to explain it? Going bungee jumping in VR versus real life. Like, it is not the same. You get this enormous thrill from doing it in the VR. Like, you get those same heart palpitations if it's a good VR, but you don't actually have the risk of anything happening and being an idiot or whatever. Personally, I don't even consider that kind of intimacy without knowing someone for at least 3 months. Which intimacy? The sexting or the actually jumping into bed with each other? Anticipation. Okay, so that like, it's an anticipation thing. You have all of this anticipation without any of the actual relief of it happening. I don't know. They do not feel the same to me. Like, watching Korn and getting off to Korn, like, instead of being with a person. I don't consider them the same, really. Like, you're scratching an itch, but you're doing it in a different venue, a different way. Any of it?
We talk about date ideas and things we'd like to do together in the future when we meet up IRL. Topics that are usually discussed between two adults who are clearly romantically interested.
Venue wasn't the right word. The same avenue. I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to describe here, but the method to get there is different. And, okay, so there is something very impersonal with it being on the screen. That's why it feels different to me. There's something very impersonal on the screen. You are what you put up on the screen, which is not necessarily you. Which is probably why I don't do, like, online relationships very well, because you can be anything you want on a screen, but you don't know that person until you're with that person. So it feels very impersonal, and it's not the same. That's what it
each
is.
other. On top of texting, we also called almost every single day, even after he'd stream for over 8 hours. We talk and play games regularly. One thing I'd noticed is that every time we called and when he spoke, he'd be whispering and never fully use his voice. His excuse was that it's because he was tired after a long stream, and I didn't really find that to be suspicious. Using your voice for 8 hours in a row does exhaust it after all. I now realize that he was quiet because his girlfriend lived with him and he didn't want her to hear. So in this first set of DMs, we can see them discussing things to watch together. Sykkuno saying, let's watch something. Mal would say we should. He would say, let's watch a cooked Netflix dating show because those are funny, or both. And Mal would say we should. And do you also want to play games like Helldivers or Overwatch or etc.? In the next image, we can see them discussing the spicy audio that she sent him at some point. He'd say, you do too. She would say, yeah, like in that audio recording I sent you, to which he would act flustered over and say, huh? Oh my God. Well, yes, you really sounded cute in that too. But she would say, did you ever re-listen to it?
That's why, to me, sexting is not the same as, you know, jumping into bed with someone, because the screen is a facade and you're not, like, it's not tangible. It's not tangible in the same way.
Or only that once. In the next screenshot, we can see them discussing going on a gym date. Mal expressed to him how much he enjoys going to work out at the gym, and so Sykkuno would inquire about what a gym date looks like. This is when they discuss it more. In the next two set of DMs, we can see them talking about more spicy topics. Mal would say, you get flustered so easily. And then Sykkuno would say, because I'm not. I've never done like this kind of thing before, lol. To which she would say, and? You don't like it? He'd continue saying, which is crazy because I'm older than you, but like I haven't really dated much, so. And then Mal would say, so? You have me now. He'd reply with, my XP bar is low, but no, I do it. I've never gotten something like this before. Yes, I like it. It's so good. I can't wait to use it later. As in, I can't wait to grill my sausage to it later, whatever she sent. To which she would reply with, you know, I've kind of wondered if you've ever touched yourself while watching what I send you. To which he'd say, what? Why would you wonder that? She'd say, well, because they're spicy pictures and videos. Of course, I wonder if you put them to use. And then he'd say, I'll definitely put this one to use. She'd say, so you've never done so before? And then he would say, maybe in all caps with a flustered sweating emoji. This is when she'd put her foot down and say, I want a yes or no. And then
Okay. My XP bar. I can see that, cat. I can totally see that. Oh my goodness. I can actually see Rocky using that. My XP bar is low. Okay, so maybe I'm just suspicious. Hey, Prince, how you doing? Okay, so maybe I'm just a suspicious person in general, but if someone is 35 and they're telling me they haven't done a lot and they don't have a lot of experience and they don't know a lot and all of this, I am going to be immediately suspicious. I am going to be asking very pointed questions, just kind of off to the side. I'm not going to blatantly accuse you of lying to me, but I will be asking questions and I will be comparing what you're saying to see if it makes sense. Never in a million years. So, I cannot imagine someone being 30 and not at the very least having some mental experience. You may not have physical experience. And I'm saying this from a point and perspective of I have seen a lot of kinks. I have taken that kink test. And some of those kinks are horrifying. So I know 100% that some people with those kinks have never experienced those kinks in real life. They have only ever experienced them on the screen. Yes, Rocky, kink test. It was something that several of us did a couple years ago. It was hilarious. Um, uh, Wait, maybe it's this. I think it's this. Wait, where's the test? Take. I pinky promise I'm not a robot. So, woman. Let's see. So what are our options here? Okay, so we have all of these options. We're going to say prefer not to say. Length, scope, test count, third or more, I don't know. Yeah, so it has stuff like this. This girl and the girl in the video I sent you honestly both made my head hurt. Really, I'll be 58 in less than 2 weeks, and I can count the amount of partners on one hand, and gaining experience together is preferable to me. Like, it is preferable to gain experience with a partner, but I know from taking this quiz that there are people who have no real-life experience of some of the things that's in here. What's the zombie soup? Oh! Yeah, we need to do that sometime. Anyway. I don't even remember how we got on this topic, but I remember it was something to do with people experiencing... Oh, wait, we were talking about him and how he's so innocent. So, you know, if they're in their 30s, I expect them to at least know that there are kinks out there. Yep. Okay.
He would say, yes, of course
I would be
have.
so
How could I
suspicious
not?"
of this.
Overall, these DMs were a balance of spicy and wholesome, just like what you'd expect when two people are romantically interested in each other, saying goodnight to each other, inquiring on their health.
I would
He'd compliment her on her
100% be
appearance. She'd say, "I love
saying
getting
in my
compliments from you.
head that
Good
he
morning,
is
handsome. What are you up to?"
playing
But
dumb
this
as
romantic
hard as he
interest wouldn't just be
can.
expressed with words. No, for Sykkuno, he'd make sure to express it financially, too. This is what would lead us to the next section, titled Sugar Daddy. Less than a month later, Sykkuno would randomly ask for my PayPal account in DMs. He'd then waste no time in sending me money unprompted, something that I
Out of my experience, me and my boyfriend have the most healthy relationship I've ever been.
later realized was simply a behavioral
Nice!
pattern
I
that he'd
kind
employed
of
with
feel
women he'd
that with
expressed
you
interest in.
guys.
I want to reiterate that I have never asked him for his money, and he did this of his own volition. He bought me both a gym jacket, linked below, and Resident Evil 9, because I had expressed interest in that game. Here we can see two payments. The first one sent on the 28th of February 2026, 81 euros, and the second one being 200 euros on the 5th of March 2026. The sender was the
Hold on. What's this? I know there's kinks, but I know very little of BDSM. I know it has bondage, femdom, latex, male. It has so much, Prince. It has, like, it is so extensive. The BDSM list is over 100 items long.
business, Sykkuno. He'd innocently ask for her PayPal username on the 28th of February. He'd start off the conversation with, you still aren't asleep either? To which she'd say, I fell asleep, woke up again because I'm having trouble sleeping. He would then say, oh, well, good morning. And what's your PayPal so I can buy you games later? She'd say, huh? Straight to the point. Jesus, I need to update my email to my PayPal because it's my old name from before I rebranded.
I dated a player before, he never physically
At some point she'd say,
cheated, but he
want me to
flirted
send
with a
it
lot of
back?
girls,
To
so
which
he
he'd say,
kinda, I
no, I
guess,
wanted you to get a nice
emotionally
gym
cheated.
vest.
I mean, you should tell him that you're not comfortable with that and you don't like that. And if you really can't reconcile with that, then you should not be together. Like, plain and simple with it. If he's not willing to drop that because it makes you uncomfortable and you're not able to, like, stay emotionally healthy with it, then it's not a fit relationship. I don't... Yeah, so... I don't know. I don't personally like that in a partner where they'll flirt with someone else, but I know that there's people who don't have an issue with it. So I don't necessarily condemn people who do that, but it's not something I'm willing to deal with.
lol, especially because it seems like you're really passionate about working out, so I thought it'd be nice. And then you can remember me when you're wearing it. I thought it was a cute idea. She'd buy one, she'd wear it, she'd send it to him, and she'd say, I wore it with the green set because I know how much you like green. She'd also make a tweet on her account while wearing it, saying, this gym jacket is literally so comfy, the muscle mommy arc will be real. So up until this point, this was Mal's experience with Sykkuno. The next section is titled A Calculated Pattern of Love Bombing and Manipulation. And this is where we talk about Elphilia's side of the story. The document would say, after speaking to Elphilia a few days ago, we were able to corroborate our experiences with Sykkuno and learned that we were both victims of this. We had no idea that he was talking to both of us at the same time. Sykkuno is known to send hundreds of dollars to the girls he wants to get involved with. This screenshot is from when he took my friend Elphilia to Paris.
Like, I remember hearing about one woman who did not mind that her husband flirted with other women because she loved knowing that she had the power and he loved her more than them, and that they wanted him and couldn't have him. Like, that was a kink to her, was other women seeing what she had, wanting what she had, and knowing that they couldn't get it. So she had no issues with him flirting. But that was their relationship. That was how they fit together, and it works great for them.
The 2025 TFT tournament, along with sending her 500 euros to help her move into her new apartment. You can clearly see that this was sent from his business email's PayPal account. So unlike the other image that was supplied by Mal, here we can clearly see this is Sykkuno at hotmail.com sending her all this money, a substantial amount, around 1,550 euros, all under his business email. Here are the DMs in which we can see that he offered to pay for her flight to TFT Paris, as well as all the food and hotel fees there, pretty much taking care of her financially during the entire trip. So this starts off as far back as April 2025, with Sykkuno telling Elphilia, I'm probably going to Paris later this year for sure. I'm not sure on TwitchCon yet. I'm afraid I don't know enough people. He'd say, you should come to Paris when I go to it. Is it close? To which she'd say, Paris.
Love bombing, I think, can be a bit dangerous when you try to consider it love bombing. Because you can also take advantage of that. Like, I don't know. Yes, they do, Steve. Being older, I learned I shouldn't have been with him. He just didn't like being single, so he would bounce around and date other girls. When he got bored of the old girlfriend, at least, instead of cheating, he just dumped them. But yeah, you would get a new girlfriend, like, immediately, meaning he never really cared. Yeah, that's true, Kat. So I think it is 100% wrong for him to be sending her all of that money with no kind of agreement or explanation. Now, if there is an agreement and explanation, then it would be nice for that to be shown. We shall see. The only thing that I saw on there was one thing that said to help with the moving. So, and I don't necessarily think that it makes it right just because they could take advantage of him and take his money and then pretty much give him nothing. But they have the power to end all of that. They can take it and attach nothing to it. They are attaching things to that. Which is why I feel that love bombing can be a little bit controversial. It is manipulative, but I don't know. It almost feels like it's a big con, and he's a con artist, and he is doing the long con here. And she's gullible enough to fall for it, so to speak. But she doesn't have to be. Which, it feels really bad to say, but I know it's the reality of the world that there are people out there who are going to try to cheat you and try to get you into things. Like, they are actively out there. I think they are scummy and dirtbaggy, but that is how they make their living. And I have to protect myself against that. So similar to that and con artists, you also have to apply that to relationships. So love bombing is a thing that I think people should be aware of and should be wary of, just on principle. And if you're not, then you're being, again, irresponsible.
It's pretty easy to go to, yeah, since it's in the European Union. He'd say, you better hang out then when I go there. She'd reply with, I'll have to see because I know nothing and no one there and it's expensive, to which he would say, I'll pay for it, don't worry. She'd say, whoa, really? You do that? And then he'd say, yeah, of course, and all the food. She'd of course be ecstatic about this and say, you'd have to deal with my annoying ass though. And he would say, but you gotta choose places to eat, like the restaurant.
I feel like it's more manipulative.
One day later, he'd reiterate, you're fine, you never have to pay for
manipulation,
anything, don't worry at all. How much is the flight usually from the Netherlands?
I feel like manipulation does fall under the predator tag. I honestly do. But they're working towards an SA type of predator, which it doesn't apply for. So, for some reason, when people are saying predator in this case, and maybe someone could explain this, because it brings up a very valid point, that he does have predatory behavior here, but it is not in a SA manner.
To Paris and back because she lived in the Netherlands at the time. I think I'm going for like a TFT tournament or something like that. On the 10th of December 2025, we can see her saying, I'm boarding now, see you soon, to which he would reply with, see you soon, you have the hotel info, right? Since they were going to share
I still consider him a massive dirtbag.
Elphilia would talk to Sykkuno on and off for the span of 5 years. During that time, she had absolutely no idea that he had a girlfriend in the 5 years that she had known him, and on and off flirted with him. Anytime she would bring up the topic of his love life, he would give the response of playing too many games.
And I will say that a lot of my opinions are coming from a perspective of how stupid that I think she's looking at this from, because I could not picture myself doing any of this. This is like romance novel stuff. It is fiction. Romance novels are fictional. This stuff just doesn't happen. You question this stuff. Why are you falling for this stuff?
And not going out enough to meet women to date. So bear in mind, she knew him since like 2021, back when he was like the most desired man on the entirety of Twitch or the streaming space. And even with all that flirting, he never once mentioned the relationship he's been in since 2021. So this was in the beginning of his relationship as well. So in this next set of DMs, we can see Elphilia saying, also, I have a question for you. Why are you single? Like, how? To which he'd say, huh? That's a crazy question, lol. I think it's a combination of like playing too many games. To which he'd say, why crazy? Why is it a crazy question? The guy was desired by anyone. Even after his viewership had fallen down a little bit, he could still DM anyone and get them to date him. It didn't make sense. The document would say, same calculated behavior and patterns, using his nerdy gamer boy facade to lure women into a false narrative. In this next set of DMs, Elphilia would be saying, you're cute. You're this sweet to all girls, or am I just lucky? To which he'd say, wah, lol, only to the ones I think are cool. So as we can see, Elphilia is just starstruck. She can't believe this. She feels so lucky that Sykkuno, the guy who's desired by everyone, is giving her attention out of anyone else in the world. This is the effect he had on people, and he knew
this is making me think a lot about the people who are being tricked, for instance, by AI Brad Pitt, and they're losing all of their fortune. I remember someone once asked me if I would ever break up with my boyfriend if my favorite celebrity asked me out. My answer was always no, and watching this drama makes me believe my decision, right? Yeah, like, I might joke and say, yeah, I would, but I honestly wouldn't. But then I'm not in a relationship anyway. Yeah.
And just like with Mal, he would follow her personal Instagram with his official Sykkuno Instagram page. It's genuinely like a deja vu to what he did with Mal. Like, it's the same patterns. The guy had a playbook and he knew how to put it to use. The document would continue. Here is proof that Sykkuno was in Paris for the TFT event around this time too, directly from his Twitter. So here you can see this was posted around the 13th of December 2025 when he was in Paris. In this first tweet on the left, we can see him taking an image of Lily Pichu, who was also there, as well as him retweeting one of TFT's tweets saying, ultimate bragging rights have been secured at the TFT Paris Open. This is them announcing that Sykkuno's team had won, confirming that he was indeed there. The next page of the document would show us a set of DMs between Sykkuno.
Like, I could not imagine betraying the person that I'm with, even for a celebrity. I might joke about it, but no. I wouldn't. And if someone asked me in front of my significant other, if we had not already discussed that, I wouldn't even joke about it. I would have to talk about that with them first to make sure that they understood it was a joke, because I would not want to undermine my relationship like that.
and Elphilia. The date would be the 3rd of March, 2026. So this would be 3 months after they had met up and hooked up. And this would be as he was talking with Mal. He'd say, "Oh my god, I was playing World of Warcraft. I saw this player. It reminded me of you." That's because that player had a similar looking name. She'd say,
Yeah,
"Oh,
no,
you got
I
reminded of me.
don't
That's cute." To which he'd
either,
say,
Steve.
"Of course." "Oh, I was going to ask. Were
Like
you
I said,
planning
I'll
on going
joke
to,
about
off
it,
guy or anything
but
like that?" That's a
no.
VTuber expo, right? To which he would say, "I wish, but unfortunately I can't. My rent is now 800 euros per month and I'm living fully off of my savings, so I can't spend all
Now,
my..."
I say that from a perspective of me looking at a relationship in a monogamous way, which, by the way, and I don't remember if I've said this to you before, Steve, but I am okay with a polyamorous relationship if everything works out the way that it needs to. But it is so hard to find that balance that I don't even want to right now. Like, I could potentially, but I don't even want that right now. So, if I did find that perfect, whatever, and my celebrity was there and I had the opportunity and my partner said yes, I don't even think I could do it then, because it would be a one-time fling and they're not being brought into the relationship. And I can't do that with someone. I can't be that intimate with someone unless there's going to be, I don't want to call it a contract, but an understanding of the rules and the boundaries of the relationship. So, there's the possibility of saying yes if I was in a poly relationship, but I couldn't, to me, that I can't be that intimate. I know I'm with my one. Like, why would I leave them for someone who's... Exactly, Kat. Nope, you're fine.
Travels for the year. The document would say, to add even more salt to the wound, after Elphilia's Paris trip, and 2 weeks after he had started talking to me, saying things like how he wants to move in with me.
I say I'm poly, and I am poly, and if that relationship came up, it would be fine. I would be able to work with that. But I am not looking for a poly relationship. If I were to start looking for a relationship, which I'm not, I have no interest right now in a relationship. My life is too busy, and I cannot add anything else to that. But if I were, I would not be looking for a poly relationship. I would be looking just for a monogamous relationship. And then there could be a talk about it. And then we might increase it if the interest is there. Like, I'm not expecting to find that poly relationship. That's how out there the possibility of that is for me.
Such, he would message Elphilia asking her if she'll be at Off Guy. This is proof that he'd be talking to more than one woman at the same time, planning a hookup for every event he went to.
I can't share that much of me with someone random.
And all while also having a girlfriend since 2021. Elphilia and I weren't friends until I found out that he was cheating on his girlfriend. This is when we both got in contact with each other and shared our stories. She deserves the world. The section would end with both Sykkuno and Elphilia talking about random topics, and then at the end of this DM chain, we
I know I am
saying,
applying a lot of my personal perspective to my
Spent
reaction
crying,
here.
Crying right now. Why do some men
I'm
cheat?
trying to be
I'll never
objective
understand.
too.
The document points out that this is ironic, seeing that Sykkuno is a cheater himself. So as you can see, when these two women spoke to each other and shared their stories, they were shocked. Shocked to know that they were being used so casually, and shocked to know that this man was in a relationship. But how is it that he did this for years with no consequences? How is it that there are many Elphilias and Mals out there with no one saying a thing? Well, they kind of did, which is what the next section is all about. It's titled Rumors and Broken Friendships. As I mentioned in the intro, no one made a public statement before because they never had sufficient evidence. Sykkuno would always talk about the most explicit and sensitive topics in voice calls or in person, never leaving a paper trail. This was all intentional. Rumors still managed to spread. Many content creators, both big and small, would vent to their friends about his behavior. Behind the scenes for many, he'd be known as a predator who regularly took advantage of smaller and or vulnerable content creators. The reason why Sykkuno would abruptly stop hanging out with certain people throughout the years is because of this predatory behavior. However, he'd managed to keep enough influential friends around him to legitimize his position in the space, especially seeing that many of those friends were women who would have normally stood in solidarity with any sort of victim, making it seem like he was safe enough to trust because they trusted him enough to be a friend. As Elphilia spoke with Sykkuno, she'd tell him about rumors that she had heard from someone else, about how Sykkuno had a roster of readily available women, and how they all coincidentally were smaller content creators who wouldn't dare touch him if something went wrong. Elphilia, of course, didn't believe this. After all, Sykkuno had a calculated pattern that worked perfectly in his favor. His innocent, naive demeanor wouldn't dare hurt a fly, so why would he hurt me? So here we can see DMs between Elphilia and Sykkuno. She would start this off with saying, I don't know, he said he dislikes you, referencing a friend of hers, and that you only go for girls that are small so you can manipulate them with your shy persona. Yet he is doing that to my friend right now. To which Sykkuno would say, oh yeah, I mean, I don't think that's true, but I guess people will say stuff randomly. I'm confused as to these people who think I'm going for them. I haven't really done that. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be fine. I mean, like I said before, people who know me will know me, and I guess he just dislikes me, which is totally fine. She'd say, exactly. He did say the only reason you haven't gotten called out is because you go after small creators and they'll never expose you. If you ever need proof of anything, I have receipts, just in case he tries anything funny. Sykkuno would say, oh, I feel like the way VTubers are, they would love to try and expose bigger streamers. They love drama, lol. But it's not true, so I think it's fine. I don't need receipts or anything. It's fine. But I thought he was chill. I'm kind of sad he was so angry. Elphilia would say, I know, just making sure you stay safe no matter what, love. Sykkuno would continue saying, I mean, why is he bringing up so much anyway, though? To which she'd say, he's jealous of you. I'm just playing League with him, and he brought you up out of the blue. To which he'd say, I don't think there's much to be jealous of, lol. But hopefully he feels better soon. And Elphilia ends this by saying, he said you hurt 5 of his friends, apparently. So this was on the 22nd of December after they had met IRL, and Elphilia had no reason to doubt him, right? She still had no idea that he had a girlfriend since 2021. This is why she was still so readily siding
There's also a
with him. And speaking
possibility of
cheating, this is
being
what would lead us to the
gaslighting
section,
for views. Yeah,
Sykkuno's
there
girlfriend.
is.
The coincidence that would lead me to finding out the truth about Sykkuno happened last week. A popular male VTuber tried to slide into my DMs to presumably get in my pants, and when I rejected him, he immediately started to mention nasty rumors about Bao. Out of concern for her, I reached out to a mod who then connected me with Bao. The three of us struck up a conversation when I mentioned I was nervous about a date I was going on. They asked me who it was. When I said my date was with Sykkuno, they immediately told me not to go on the date for my own personal safety. Bao told me that at the end of March, Sykkuno's girlfriend reached out to her regarding a controversial tweet Bao made last year in 2025. She asked Bao if it was true that the tweet was about Sykkuno. So this tweet in question, right, if you were on Twitter back in October 2025, you would have probably seen it. It went absolutely viral, and it simply just said, if you're an up-and-coming female content creator with a small but growing audience and a much larger and successful male content creator approaches you out of nowhere and showers you with attention on stream, in DMs, etc., don't walk, run.
This should be obvious to anyone. This right here should be obvious. Always be suspicious of someone coming into your stream like this. You never know if you are their target. Always be suspicious. And I hope that my viewers understand that I love them to pieces and I say that I love them, but I am suspicious of them just for like natural safety until I get to know them better. And friendship grows from that, but I cannot risk the safety of me and my people and my community by allowing someone in to run rampant with no relationship, like friendship building. Always be suspicious of this. And to anyone who maybe wants to shower people, keep in mind that that is a suspicious behavior and you may just be trying to be nice. But if you are truly wanting to do this, understand that we have to be suspicious of stuff like that. Our moderators have to be suspicious of stuff like that. I know that Steve watches out for stuff like that. I know because he's come into my messages before and said so-and-so I think is a threat. Exactly, Steve. Steve and I are on the same boat here. Hold on. Must do. Must do. Mud hype.
To 99%
this
of
message
people,
here
this was about
should
giving
be
smaller content creators
obvious.
very well needed advice. In reality, though, this was a subtweet directly referencing Sykkuno's behavior. Because the document would continue, they called, as in Bao and Sykkuno's girlfriend, and Bao explained to her that other women had confided in her about similar experiences with him. She described a pattern of behavior where he targeted small female content creators and pressured them into having sex with him. Bao then offered to connect her with these other victims so they could share their experiences with her directly, as she felt it was important to hear them firsthand. This was all discussed during a Discord call. And so here we can see a DM sent by Sykkuno's girlfriend on March 24, 2026 to Bao, saying, "Hey Bao, I'm sorry to bother you with this, but I heard something recently that was a bit concerning and I thought I would just come ask you about it. I heard that there was possibly an instance of Sykkuno trying to get VTuber girls up to his hotel room to drink with them, and that the tweet you made about being cautious of large male streamers showering you with gifts and attention was about him?" Okay,
I also need to make a note that pictures like this, you cannot always trust pictures like this. Let me see. Let me see if I can find something. Hold on. I know Kate done it for me before when I felt uncomfortable with someone in that situation. Oh no, Zygarde, you gotta get Pokeballs! Oh, that's not what I'm wanting. I wonder. I don't think she's awake right now. Let me see. Trying to find it, but it's not. That might be it. Maybe. I don't know for sure. Let me see. Nope. Huh. I've been watching about it for like 3 days. I feel like I'm a detective investigating a crime scene. Okay, so let me explain what I'm trying to talk about. I'm sorry, Kat. I will try to hurry so that we get through this. So this picture here, there is a command that you can pull up in Discord, which will allow you to find this message and physically change the text in here. It doesn't change for everyone, but it will change for you and allow you to get a screenshot. So they could have Sykkuno saying anything they wanted. Absolutely anything. Hello. This is outside of the recording. I decided to come back to show you guys something that I looked to try and do but couldn't accomplish during my reaction video. So just to show you guys something with Discord that is a bit of a flaw. You have the ability to change the text of what anyone says on your screen, which means that you can make it look like someone says something really horrible and take a picture of it and send it off to say this person said something bad. Now, I'm going to show you how easy this is without any kind of editing. So here's my own Discord server. Steve is one of my moderators, an amazing person. And he would never say anything bad, but if someone wanted to make it seem like they can pull up the inspect tool. And in the inspect tool, we want to find this stay safe message. So we do a Control F to find this specific message. And you can see over here, it's right here. If I double click this, it opens it in a box. And I can move around in here, and you can see me moving left to right. I can come here at the end and say, maybe I want him to expand on it. So this message was in response to the funny picture above it about how Pokemon Go said, why not step outside for a bit? Reports of shots fired. Tornado warning. Not a really smart thing to do, go outside right now. Thanks, Pokemon Go, for the bad advice. So I sent this saying I had been thinking about getting on Pokemon Go again. And Steve said, stay safe. So we could make it look more like a joke and say, stay safe. Make sure you take the bullets head on, period. And then when I hit enter, click outside of it, it changes the text here. It makes it look like this was the message that he sent. The important thing to note about this is it only appears this way on my screen. Anyone else who looks in the server is still going to see Steve's original message that says stay safe. But it is so easy to do this that you cannot just trust someone sending you a screenshot of a Discord message and say this person said this, because it is too easy for them to manipulate it. Thanks. We'll get back to the reaction now.
Regards to him doing it to one of your friends? You know, before we get back to the document, this actually reminds me of this one tweet that was posted on Twitter back in October 21st, 2025 during TwitchCon North America, where an innocent fan came across Sykkuno in the lobby of a hotel at 2 a.m. One can only wonder what he was doing there. But as you can see, rumors are very easy to spread once you spot someone in a hotel lobby at 2 a.m. The document would continue. Bao told me that 3 days before I contacted her and her mod, Sykkuno and his girlfriend were trying to reconcile after Sykkuno somehow managed to convince her that it was all a huge misunderstanding. She had no clue that I, as well as many other girls, still existed in Sykkuno's romantic and sexual life. Bao and her mod would put me in a group chat with Sykkuno's girlfriend where I would share all the screenshots you see above. She was rightfully horrified and left the group chat because she couldn't stomach reading them. This is where we can see DMs in the group chat from Sykkuno's girlfriend saying, I've lived with him for over 2 years. We have been together since 2021. And on top of that, everything he's planning with you are things we have planned together and talk about and have done. I'm sorry. At this point, I wouldn't be able to imagine what I would feel if I was in Mal's shoes or anyone else's shoes that Sykkuno had taken advantage of. In fact, I can't imagine being his girlfriend, hearing these rumors about someone I lived with in the same home and finding out about it this way, even after he managed to convince me that him sleeping with someone back in December 2025 was a misunderstanding. It's horrifying. This would all lead us to the final section of this document, titled To All of Sykkuno's Victims. Ever since Sykkuno's viral breakout during the pandemic lockdowns of 2020 when he played Among Us, he has always carefully curated every aspect of his behavior on stream and with friends. An innocent, romantically inexperienced boy failure who looks like an anime character and sounds like one too. This perfectly curated image would attract a large audience of women, with a lot of them openly professing how attracted they are to him. He soaked in the praise and never sought to limit the most extreme aspects of his community because it made him more desirable. He understood this, and would use this curated image, as well as his legitimacy in the content creation space thanks to his followers and famous friends, to seek out any attractive cosplayers and or content creators that were small enough to be starstruck by his grand presence. It would work most of the time, as he'd use the same calculated pattern that he used with me and Elphilia to lure them in, and eventually fly them out to the next convention or event that he went to with the goal of hooking up. What these many women didn't know though, is
play
that
the
he'd always
voice
lie about
recording.
the fact that he's single. That
I might
behind
be
the
able to
scenes, he had
find
a
it.
neglected
If you
and
can
depressed
find it,
girlfriend
send
that
me
he'd
a
been with
link.
since 2021 and who has lived with him since 2024 in the same house. I implore the many other victims to come out about their experiences with this predator. and I end this document with a recording of Sykkuno in which he admits to everything, especially with how he cheated on his girlfriend with my friend and was intending to do that with me as well. For context, this was shortly after I had messaged his girlfriend about his cheating. 30 minutes later, he would ask if I was free for a call. As his girlfriend was crying downstairs, he somehow chose to prioritize someone that he barely met 2 months ago. She's referring to herself. I pointed this out during the call. Here's the link. So the link isn't here right now, but obviously it will be by the time this video comes out. It's okay though, because I have the video. And if you're wondering why you should watch it here, well, it's because Sykkuno's voice is so damn low. I mean, the guy was whispering as if someone was after him with a gun. They could barely tell what he's saying. I actually bothered to add subtitles. This whole recording is 17 minutes long, and as the document stated, he pretty much admits to everything. Watch.
Oh. They do play it, Cat.
Hello.
Thomas.
Hello.
So?
Well.
Wait, what did she call him?
Pretty much no most. Hello.
So?
Well.
Watch.
Hello.
Thomas.
Hello.
So?
Well. Pretty much know most of it.
Yeah? Like what?
Know what?
No, you can tell me.
Okay. Well. Wasn't very honest.
Oh?
About single.
About what? You have to speak up a little bit. Your mic's cutting out.
Sorry, always happens. About being single, and I just wanted to tell you how everything happened.
Uh-huh. You're still gonna have to speak up a little bit, by the way. You're still cutting out a lot.
Sorry, I talk quietly.
Yeah, but you never talk this quietly.
I'm sad.
It's the actions of your... Well, it's the consequence of your own actions, I suppose.
I know.
Mm.
So basically, I was in a very happy relationship.
Doesn't sound like it, but sure.
Well, let me finish.
Uh-huh,
I
continue.
was in a very happy relationship a long time ago.
A long time ago. What, like
And then-
2021?
I don't know the exact time, honestly. But
Oh, Thomas is his real name? I didn't know that.
it got a lot less happy.
How so?
I don't fully know. She just stopped hanging out with me that much, and
Stop hanging out with you. She lives with you.
yeah, I mean,
You're gonna have to speak up. I can't hear a single sentence that comes out of your mouth. You there?
yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm just asking because you went quiet.
Anyway, so I was very, very happy,
Mm-hmm.
and at some point it wasn't so happy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know exactly when, but like we stopped spending time together. We hadn't done it together for years.
Or what? I couldn't hear that part.
I said we hadn't done anything together for like years,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just very sad and alone. Didn't feel wanted at all.
Mm-hmm. So you slept with Elfie in Paris.
Yeah.
And then you flirted with me. And were telling me how you wanted me to come visit you in Vegas, and how you wanted to go on a date, and how you were serious about me, and how you really meant it, and how you wanted to go get a cat together.
Yes.
Yeah. Why? Why didn't you just break off the relationship then?
Because a combination of remembering how it was, some part of me hoping it would go back to that, and
Well, obviously it's not going to go back to that if you're actively cheating on her. It's only going to get worse. I think that's really on you, bud. And I know you're smarter than that.
Okay. I like that she is holding him accountable. He is the one that has done all of this. He is the jerkwad. He is the dirtbag. He is the one that cannot be trusted with relationships.
I mean, for fuck's sake, you're a 34-year-old man. Yes, you are. Stop acting like you're a child.
Exactly.
I don't think that's what I'm acting like, but
Yes.
I mean, you say
Yes, you are.
you're not smarter than that, but you are. You're a 34-year-old man. You just chose to do it. You knew damn well in the back of your head that wasn't going to end up well.
yeah. But it's complicated.
It's really not.
So-
Cheating is just bad. She hasn't done anything to ask for it to be cheated on. It's pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, but she relied on me to take care of a lot of things, and I still cared about her.
Okay, that doesn't mean that you do that because you wanted to, not because she was like holding it against you or forcing you to.
Yep. And in that case, if he is taking care of a lot of stuff and he doesn't want to leave her kind of in a lurch, You know, he can say, I'm done with this, but I will still take care of you. He has that option. If he feels that guilty in his mind and doesn't want them to have to suffer through it, he has that option. But he also needs to be honest and say, I'm not in this relationship anymore, because he's not at this point. He doesn't want to be in it.
No.
Exactly.
And his girlfriend should not have to deal with this. This should not be a thing. She didn't want to deal with this. She didn't want any of it to be public or open. And these girls have made it public and open what a dirtbag he is that she has been with.
So there's still...
My question is, if she's been given this information, why is she still in contact with him unless she's trying to get dirt on him? Exactly, Steve. Like, she is holding him accountable. But this call is just to get him admitting his infidelity.
no excuse for you to cheat on her.
Not saying there was one. Just explaining.
I'm not saying that this did not need to come out into the light, but not new. This is like, what would you say, Kat? A week old?
Might happen.
The only reason why it happened is because she just chose to do it. I don't know why you decided to lie to me, because you know damn fucking well that lying especially.
Also, I would like to point out that there, and I am not a legal person, I am not a lawyer, I think there could be some legal ramifications to this recording, depending on the laws within the areas that they live in, because some areas you have to have consent from both people to record, or it can be criminally prosecuted. I'm not saying that this is illegal. I know that many places you only need one person's permission to do the recording. Many places. I think that is the majority. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But I hope that they did their research and that there's nothing criminally prosecutable within this.
Is like a big thing.
Oh, so I know that he could sue the other people technically for calling him, like, for the essay allegations. I'm specifically talking about this video here, which does not go into any of those.
I do not tolerate.
You That's hilarious, Feared.
Yeah. And I was fine about the Alfie thing, because I was like, okay, he didn't know me before that, right? But then I find out you've had a girlfriend this entire time. Do you realize how fucked up that is? Because not only were you... Because, sure, you didn't lead Alfie on. Alfie acknowledges that you didn't lead her on, right? Because I've talked to Alfie. I'm friends with her. I've been friends with her before I even met you.
I think he could if he wanted to, but if I'm being completely honest, I don't think he has the backbone to do that. It's not 2 times, it's 1.25.
Like, she acknowledges that you didn't lead her on. You led me on, though. You did lead me on, though.
Yeah.
You gave me all these fancy-ass promises about, oh, we're gonna go on a date when you come visit here. What, so you could cheat on your girlfriend again? So you could sleep with me so you could cheat on your girlfriend again?
That wasn't...
What were you intending with that?
Some of the things are done so slow, especially with Sykkuno here, Feared. Like, he is so slow to talk. He is so hesitant.
I was going to, be over.
But what?
Like, I thought that was going to be the end of that.
The end of what?
My previous relationship.
You were gonna break up with...
Since one of the, quote, victims put out a thing, we're gonna get into that on... Oh, So, Feared, he has become known as a serial cheater, liar, and manipulator. Which is confirmed. He has admitted it. Like, this call here, he is admitting to it. He could recording Someone without their consent is illegal and inadmissible in court on camera. You have no right to privacy, but on the phone is a specific private call between two people. W-Man's going to sub to Psych right now. So Sykkuno is getting a lot of heat feared. We'll get into that video next, which is 100% ridiculous.
So you could date me or what?
Well, like I said, it'd been a long time where like we had.
I'm surprised you haven't
spent
heard
time
about
together,
this feared.
Hadn't done anything in years,
Mm-hmm.
and in my head, I thought that was at some point be over.
What? I couldn't hear you.
I said, I thought that meant that was going to be like the end of it.
So you were already moving on before you even broke up with her? Were you intending to break up with her, or were you just waiting for her to break up with you?
No,
I
don't
really
know.
haven't heard anything. I realized he wasn't streaming,
So-
but I figured he got an offer.
I just-
so like
No, like he has had a girlfriend for several years and has. They're saying that he has love bombed several other women and got them to love him by giving them gifts and sending them money and going further with some people.
I just want to understand this. So what was your
So-
intention with me? Like, where was I
It's
in this whole thing?
confirmed
Like,
that he's a scumbag.
were you intending to date me after her? Like, were you
It's
intending to just ditch her?
confirmed that he's a
To go date
serial
me.
cheater. He has admitted that.
I mean, I guess for me, it felt like it was already.
But that's not what I asked. I'm talking about me.
Yes, he lives in Vegas.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
You were
He
thinking to
does,
just ditch her
Steve,
and then
you're
date me.
right.
What, were you going to do the same thing to me? I'm sorry, but like, you're not really selling this whole relationship thing really well. If this is the type of relationship she will uphold.
It's fine. Not trying to sell it.
I can tell.
Just trying to explain what's going on.
Yeah. The thing is, if I never reached out to Bao, because I didn't even reach out to Bao about you, right? I reached out to Bao about because he's lied behind my back to a bunch of people, and I was not okay with that. And then started lying about Bao.
Hold on, now that's too fast. Can't imagine if this was 2 times.
That's when I reached out to Bao. I became friends with her roommate, and then I was talking with a little bit back and forth, and then you came up in the topic, and then she told me you had a girlfriend, and that your girlfriend has been venting to Bao this entire time about how you gaslight her into staying.
So, if I'm remembering
You make her
right,
feel
there are
bad anytime
no
that she,
prostitute houses
like,
down there.
wanted to leave,
Like, not
because
in
you
Vegas
cheated on
itself,
her,
but there are
and she
some
knew
in
that you cheated on
Nevada.
her. She just didn't know who.
Unless laws have changed.
Because you never told her that it was Elfie, you just told her that you cheated on her in Paris. I think. I don't know if you told her, but I knew she knew.
Yeah, I did tell him.
Okay,
Why?
yeah, so they are
Why-
still
why go through all of
allowed
this trouble?
in some places. When I was looking at them several years
Because
ago for a
Didn't know how
college
to,
project, they said that they were illegal
Wait,
in the
God's
county
sake.
that Vegas.
If the only thing why I even
resides
stayed
in.
with her is because she relied on me for a lot of things. You can afford to take care of her for a little bit before she gets back onto her feet. Like, at least don't put her
Clark
through the
County,
trouble of
okay.
telling her oh, I'm still gonna be with you, telling her that you're still her boyfriend.
that would
while
make sense. I
actively
mean, it's
cheating on her
Vegas.
every single day.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I should have just
Oh, wait, at some point it changed just from Sykkuno to the
Said how I
group.
felt.
It changed to
Like, you could
Mal's
have just
group.
deadass. If the only thing that you were concerned about is the fact that she relied
We
on
get
you
in a lot
for
of
things,
trouble with
you could have
FAA.
just
What's FAA?
supported her until she got back onto her feet, so she could support
Future
herself.
Artists of America?
You know.
And it wasn't just that.
Then what else?
Somehow hoping it would go back to how it used to be.
Well, I also already told you, cheating is not going to make it go back to how it used to be.
It's a lot easier to say that when innocent.
It's the truth. It's the harsh truth. Nothing is going to go back the same way that it was if you're going to cheat on someone actively.
Well, that's why I'm going to change that.
You're going to change what?
That's it. Everything.
What do you mean that's it?
Just gonna change that.
You're gonna stay with
Federal
her?
Aviation Administration. Ah.
Because honest to God, I feel like the poor girl's been through enough. I don't think you should have to sit there and keep doing this to her. Because I was in a group chat with her while you were on stream. And this girl's absolutely fucking distraught because of the shit that you've done to her.
What does flying have to do with it? What's going on with the flying? Why
The
do
shit
they
that you've
keep
put her through. Like, genuinely. Do
getting
you know
onto
how
you
much
guys?
that fucks someone up?
Oh, firework. That would make sense.
Like, you already cheated on her once, and she decided to trust you still. She decided to stay with you, despite the fact
it hit
that
when
you
you said
already had cheated on
fireworks.
her and admitted to it. And what do? You go onto Twitter and go find the next girl to flirt with.
So,
Like,
yeah,
if anything,
that
honest
would
to God,
make
I'm not
sense.
even mad at this point. I'm just disappointed. I'm really disappointed.
Can we just say that it's a little bit refreshing that she's not just a bawling damsel in distress?
Yep, that's fair.
Because she's been crying to Bao about it. Bao's been sitting there, like, comforting this girl, trying to tell her,
That would be
hey,
funny.
maybe you should leave him. Because this isn't okay. This really isn't okay. You're putting this girl through mental strain. Every single day. That you continue to be with her. While you're sitting there having fun playing with your friends. Be so honest right now, Thomas.
I'm out of coffee. Uncomfortable Silence Part 2. But they have a very narrow airspace
So
that
you
they can
think,
fly through to the northeast. Ah.
And you might be right.
Yeah. Like, if it is money that she doesn't have, or if it's a job, or if it's family, or
I
blah blah
already
blah
gave
blah.
her a lot.
Yeah, well, there, exactly. Just help her back on her feet until she can support herself, and then just leave the girl alone. Because she deserves better than that. Because you cannot sit there and be like, I love her, but do
Vegas
all
is
this shit to her,
big.
and continue to let her stay in that situation.
Oh,
Well-
my leg feels better like that.
Well, one part of that wasn't true.
What?
I mean, I think the feelings faded.
So then why are you
But then
still
you
in
should
the
just let her
relationship?
go.
Thank you.
Instead of just sitting her there wasting her time.
God, he's such a child.
Okay, well, anyway.
And also, why'd you get on a call with me when right now she's upset? I know she lives with you.
I already talked to her.
Yeah, you should
And
be
I
there
told
to
her I'm going to talk to you first.
you should be there to comfort her. She's the one that you cheated on.
No, I'm going to be doing that. I just wanted to settle this first.
This is not settled. I'm
Hi,
beyond
Cindy.
upset with
How
you.
are you?
like genuinely.
Active McCarran, no, LEX Henderson executive, which is south towards the California border. They're still calling it McCarran and Sky Harbor. My brother Stacy live.
Beyond upset with you.
I mean, that's fine. By settled, I mean, like, that's it. Like,
What's it?
probably never talking again.
You and me?
Yes.
Oh, so he's ghosting her now.
What? Why?
Is that not why?
What is why? I'm still upset with you, but you didn't cheat on me. You can still
What?
talk to me and be like make up for your
Wait,
actions. Don't get me wrong, 'cause I always am
hold
there
on.
for
What?
I'm still upset with you, but you didn't cheat on me.
How did he not cheat on her? How did he not cheat? How can you sit in this fucking conversation and say he did not cheat on you when he had another girlfriend? Yes, he was cheating on her with you, but that does not mean that he's not cheating on you with her. Like, I almost missed that stupidity. What? Oh my god.
You can still
Can't.
talk to me and be like, make up for your actions. Don't get me wrong, because I always am there for second chances. But I never will forgive you for cheating on her. That's that. There are a lot of girls that are upset.
This is why I wanted the recording. Like, bro, what do you mean you'll give him a second chance when you just said you... The stupidity coming out of her mouth!
By the way, because Alfie's not the only one that has hit me up.
Yeah, I bet. Sounds like you've heard things.
Yeah, and you lied to me a lot.
He does want Sykkuno's gifts. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bitch? Why are you trying to throw him under the bus while you're saying, I will never forgive you, but I would give you a second chance? I want those gifts. Give them to me.
It's about that too. A lot. Because, how big was the roster again?
I don't think I ever had one of those.
I mean, maybe not at the same time, but you sure do hop around.
Suppose so.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. He's gonna write a check and
All I
poof,
care
this
about
will
right now is that
disappear.
it's okay.
Ashamed of nothing and no accountability.
updated on that.
Yep.
I
100%.
don't know if that's a possibility.
You can keep me updated on how she's doing. You can keep me updated on when she moves out, because I don't think she should be living with you anymore.
Beard, you're on Twitter, right?
I don't think you need me to do that.
I mean, yeah, I care about her.
No? Okay, never mind.
Like,
Yeah, she can do that.
true. I'll just
What's
reach out to her
happening
then.
here?
But, yeah, no, just...
So, Kat found the original video where one of his quote victims is accusing him. And I can look at it when I'm not signed into Twitter, but if I sign into Twitter, it tells me the page doesn't exist. I don't understand.
Like, you go talk to her. She needs you right now.
Yeah, okay. Oh, bye.
Bye, Thomas.
Shortly after the call, the last thing Mal would ever say to Sykkuno would be, I'm beyond disappointed in you. So look, according to Mal, there are countless other victims. It is completely up to them on whether they want to come out with their side of the story or not. For now, though, we can confirm at least 2 different people that were completely misled by him as he cheated on his girlfriend so comfortably. In those 2 instances, we can see him also using the same playbook, the same tactics, sending them money, making them feel special, following their personal Instagram, wanting to meet ASAP, to hook up, everything. And I think one thing that personally struck me was how only 30 minutes after his girlfriend found out about his cheating and probably confronted him, he chose to run upstairs and prioritize Mal, someone he met.
Okay, I think he needs to talk with Sykkuno and figure out why Sykkuno did this. There could be something happening with the relationship. He did state that he had already talked to her. So maybe he had talked to her and she wanted her space. So during that space, he went up to take care of one of the other points of interest and do that. I'm not condemning him for talking to Mal after such a short time, because he did say he talked to her. And if he did talk to her, then let their relationship do its thing, because it is currently damaged and broken and they need to figure out what they're going to do with it.
2 months ago, all while his girlfriend was crying downstairs, gutted, heartbroken. There's a reason people say with great power comes great responsibility, because once you have this power that Sykkuno possessed, you can so easily take advantage of others. So as a content creator, you have a very clear choice, and unfortunately, Sykkuno decided to be the
But we
worst
never
person
got
possible. I wish all the
Sykkuno's
victims in
side
this
of this.
travesty the absolute best, and I also encourage them to speak out. When it rains, it pours. And right now, the first drop has hit the ground.
He's
Sykkuno
calling
and
for
anyone
more
else who seeks to
victims
take
right
advantage of
here.
their position
Mujin is calling
need
for more
to be held
victims to come
accountable.
out
And for anyone who
and
grew up watching him during
accuse
quarantine, who looked
Sykkuno.
up to him, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, ruining whatever ideal image you had of him in your head. In any case,
Mujin
if
is
more
taking
victims
so
decide to
much
speak out,
damage
then
for
I will
this
most
video,
likely stream
Feared.
me reading all of them on my channel later
Also,
on.
I'm
For the
crying
time being,
because of
though,
my
please,
boyfriend.
if a
The
larger
last
content
person I
creator
would
reaches
want
out
to
to
see
you,
is
even if you
him,
don't
to be
make content,
honest.
please always be extremely skeptical and know that they probably don't see you as the most special person in the world. They've probably done this to many others already. Thank you so much for watching until the end. I really, really appreciate it. If you want a healthy alternative to an energy drink, then definitely use the code Mujin at GamerSubs for 10% off. And if you want exclusive content like high quality art and exclusive yapping videos, then definitely check out stacked.com. It's like Patreon, but better. I love you so much. Platonically. Come on, platonically. I'm not going to be like Sykkuno, and I'll see you in the next video whenever that is. Mwah!
Okay, so they're calling him a predator here, and I cannot discount that his behavior is predatory towards them, but at the same time, I feel like that is a... I know, right, Feared? I feel like, unless other people come forward, it's rage bait to me. Well, one person does come forward, but I'm wondering what you're going to think of that, Steve. That's just me. I don't know about his girlfriend. Maybe she wanted him to comfort her, but I don't know. I wouldn't want him to be near me until I'm more calm and reasonable. Right? So that's your personality for it, and that could be her personality for it too. We don't know her personality. We don't know what's going on there. We need more information from Sykkuno. And a lot of people are looking at the term predator and they're like banging their fists at this word and them calling him a predator. And I struggle to not say that the word is correct because his actions do feel like they fit this definition. Unless he essays. Okay, so here, Feared. We're going to watch this next. So here is a reaction from one of the people.
I went to Evil Las Vegas alone. But I wasn't alone. I shared a hotel room with Sykkuno. But I didn't know that he had other intentions. And
So-
I didn't ask him to share a room with me. I just simply asked him, "Hey, are you going to Evil Las Vegas?" He said yes. And I said, "Oh, I'm trying to go this year. I'm looking at hotels and everything's so expensive. Do you pretty much have like any recommendations? Like I know he lives in Las Vegas." And he said, "Oh, you're planning on coming. I actually have room. If you just want to like room with me." And I said, and I at first was not against it. I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, "No, I don't want to intrude. Like, I don't mind getting my own hotel and all this." Like, I was insistent on being like, "Oh no, it's fine." And then he said, no, like I have extra room. I already paid for it." And I even asked him, I'm like, "Are you rooming with a group or with friends?" And he said, "No, but there's 2 beds, so like you'll get your own bed, you know?"
Okay, so she is agreeing to a hotel room with him in Las Vegas. Okay, if she consented to sex, you consent to be him in because that's the whole theoretical. No, he has a point. What happens in Vegas usually stays in Vegas. Okay, but bro lives in Las Vegas but got a hotel room. What do you mean you don't know he had other intentions? Right, Beard? That's the thing. Why are they not staying at his house if they're staying at the hotel? If she is agreeing to this and she is not putting her foot down and saying, I will do this, but I am paying my own way because this is completely platonic. I don't want any kind of sexual interaction. Unless she is saying that, she has no room to stand on. Like, you are agreeing to this, and any smart woman is going to make sure that they're, one, not putting themselves in this situation if they really feel uncomfortable, or two, they're going to make sure that the situation is clear. The court of feared essay charges been dismissed as of this point.
Like,
So this,
Yeah.
Steve, this is the girl that I said is being either extremely manipulative and trying to make herself be such a victim and come out to the audience and get their support and their emotional understanding. She's trying so hard to do that she's either doing that consciously and manipulating it like that, or there has been a failure in her learning process. She either failed herself because she didn't listen to the people telling her how to be safe, or she did not have any teachers teaching her how to be safe. Need to get out to some more clubs.
So I took his offer. Being a dumbass, I took his offer. But I did later. I even offered to pay him back. I said, how much should I save up for accommodations? And he said, oh, no. No, you don't have to pay me back.
Okay.
Like, I already have room for the hotel. You don't have to pay me back.
Okay, at this point, women, I'm giving you a PSA. At this point, you 100% say, no, I am paying you back for this. This is my room. I am not taking your offer for this because there needs to be no other obligations attached to this money. None. I don't want you to assume that there's going to be anything.
So, yeah,
She did, Steve.
shared a room with Sykkuno. At Evo Las Vegas. And we had plans to watch a movie together.
I think he actually has
watch a horror
a lawsuit
movie
against
together,
them. I
Until
don't
Dawn.
think he
That
will do
movie's
it, though.
ass.
I don't
Actually,
think
I
he
didn't
will
even get to
take
finish
it.
but that movie's ass.
They
He
watched a
had
scary
hotel
movie,
in Las Vegas,
guys.
Yes.
What does the movie have to do with anything? So, to me, Kat, or she's hoping Sykkuno will pay her some hush money. So, Kat, here's my opinion on the movie. I think she's using it to gain more sympathy, but the only thing that it says to me is she agreed to a date with him. Unless there is conversation going on, she is agreeing to a date with him. So this does not help her, in my opinion. This hurts her, in my opinion. Because she is agreeing to more relationship type stuff without setting boundaries. There have to be boundaries. And if you don't talk about those boundaries, then he's not going to know the boundaries. He doesn't read your mind. He's not a mind reader. Yeah, if there was no boundaries set, Kat,
we
then
were watching
yes.
the movie, and he started to get very angsty or something. I don't know how to explain it, but
So here's the thing. I think that you can agree to share a room with a man. I do not think it is advisable because, in my opinion, that is not a smart thing to do, but I think that it can be done. I think there is that possibility that someone might be nice enough out there to do that with you. And if there are two separate beds, you can create those boundaries. And if those boundaries are broken in any way, he steps foot on your half of the room, he touches your blanket, he touches the edge of your bed as he's going to the bathroom. If any boundaries are broken, then it breaks right then. You get out. Wait, you have? Seriously, Feared?
He pretty much tried to make a move on me. And I was fully trying to say, like, I'm just here to watch the movie. Like, I'm just here to watch the movie. But me being a dumbass and not being very like,
This bitch is a liar.
what's the word?
The gulag.
Very strong in, like, mentally, not physically. I mean, like, maybe this is a people pleaser in me, but and maybe, I don't know, benefit of the doubt, or
Sorry, not sorry. People pleaser is not a valid excuse. If you know you are a people pleaser, you have got to be more vigilant with how you interact with people. You say you are not strong mentally. I don't care how strong you are mentally. You get your fucking backbone in gear and you say no. If you don't want it, you say no. Because if you are being hesitant but you are still going along with it, he is not a mind reader.
or because I still thought he was cute, or I don't know. He tried to make a move on me, resolute. I don't know, but he made a move on me. It did take like 30 minutes. Wow, I don't want to share that. I don't like sharing this on. This is like so personal. Like, I don't talk about my intimate life at all. But I don't sleep with anyone that I'm not dating. And it didn't happen that night. I didn't want it to happen. So instead, I just gave him oral.
And that is your fault. That is 100% your fault. You have not once given me any indication that he was violent, that you were afraid of him. And if you were afraid of him, that fear likely was in your head. I do not see Sykkuno being any kind of personality that is going to be violent. I see none of that. And you agreed to this. You 100% agreed with this. This takes two people to do, not just one. Unless he is tying you up or forcing you or blackmailing you or something like that with actual criminal allegations. You agreed to this. You consented to this. This kidnapped would be a better headliner than I was saying. Like, and I do have to say, so she is being honest with this. I think that she is being honest with this, but she is being honest with this in a way that she is trying to make herself to be the victim. And she's not a victim here. The only thing she is a victim of is her own brain at this point.
And then when he fell asleep, I got out of bed and I just ate a banana and I was just staring out the window. I was dissociating. I think I was straight up just dissociating. And I'm like, what
does the banana have to do with this? Just happened? What does the banana have to do with this?
Morning, I barely slept that night. Then in the morning,
right, Steve? I agree.
He didn't really want to talk about it.
I didn't want to go there, Feared. I'm glad you did.
And I was just kind of trying to open it up and talk to him about, like, what happened. And then we were going to talk about it.
I don't know about the breaks that she takes, the pauses.
Remember, but he ends up hugging me.
I'm not a psychologist or a profiler to say anything about that. I don't know how natural it is. Okay, hold on.
and pushes me onto the bed.
Hold on.
I don't
So
know,
I
but
do have
can't
something to say
remember,
here.
But he ends up hugging me.
Okay. He hugs her.
But then pushes me onto the bed
Okay. And he pushes her onto the bed.
from the hug.
Okay. I am going to give you a situation. You are in the bedroom with a sexy guy, and he comes up and he hugs you, and you're shy, and you're looking up at him, and he's so nice, and he's so popular, and he looks at you, and he knows that he wants to do things with you, so he pushes you onto the bed, thinking that you want it, and if you do not say you don't want it, how the fuck is he supposed to know? Like, he is sitting there thinking he's being romantic, thinking he's taking charge, being romantic, and doing what you're wanting. If you do not contradict that, he cannot read your mind.
And we end up
I
having
feel like
sex.
she's thinking on how to word it
And-
like she's a victim. Yeah. Wording it in the best way for them to spin this story the way they're wanting.
I didn't have it in me to tell him to stop. So I just let it happen.
That is not his fault. That is not his fault. That is your fault. You have a voice. You just admitted you didn't have it in you. Why have you not got the backbone to do that? You are claiming victim now. If you were a victim then, why are the police not involved? Oh.
And while this was happening, while we were doing it, I always wear protection, and I only sleep with people I'm in a relationship with. So
So
I'm
then
not
why are
used
you with
to
him?
one night stands or anything like that.
Why are you not talking about that?
But
Why are you
we're
not sticking
using
to your morals?
protection, and
Why
I'm
are you
legally hard
being
of hearing,
such a
if you
weak
guys
being?
don't know already. But in the heat of the moment, he asked me if it was safe, and I didn't hear him, but I just said mm-hmm, and he finished inside of me.
You
and
just
then
agreed
was
to
it.
that.
And then
You just agreed to that. You
we
just
stayed there
told
for a
him
little bit,
yes.
and then I brought it up. I asked him.
How do you know that he said that now? If
Straight
you
up.
didn't hear it, how do you know that's what he said?
When was your last
And
relationship?
why would you not
And
get
do you sleep
confirmation?
around often? Like, is this normal for you? Because I told him straight up, I do not date with people. I do not sleep with people I do not date.
That should have been said
I
before.
do not sleep with people that I do not date. That is just a moral of mine. I find it very intimate with whoever. So, and I don't actually have. I've only slept with I've only ever slept with 3 people. Well, 4 now, but I've only been in 3 relationships. So it was very new to me. I've never had a one night stand or anything like that. So I asked him, I'm like, is this normal for you? Like, do you sleep around a lot? And he said, no, I just,
Yep.
he was being around the bush the whole time that I was asking these questions, by the way. I'm like, then why did you sleep with me? And he said, oh, it just, giving me really half-ass answers,
Listen, guys, I know you want to believe that people are good and everything is wonderful and everything is sunshine and rainbows. And you can walk through the days believing that. But when you interact with people, you need to throw that out the window from your brain. Just shove it out your ear, because you need to look at every person and make sure that they are not trying to scam you.
Like, oh, it's just, I've known you for a while and I know you're very sweet and, you look nice. And then I asked him this question, and I said, when was your last relationship? And he said 3 years ago.
Okay, so we know he's a liar.
So in my
We know
head,
he's a scumbag.
it's crazy to.
'Cause they
That's
have to go
why I
home and the
feel
next day
so
there's someone-
blindsided and backstabbed because I asked
It's
these
starting to
questions
sound like her belly didn't get wrung and she's trying
and
to
they ended
shit.
up being complete lies.
Steve!
So when I really felt
Oh my goodness.
blindsided and backstabbed by all the information that was coming out, I really was.
I forgot
because
to
I asked
add-
those two questions, like if he was in a relationship or like when his last relationship was,
Chat
and
overlay.
if he sleeps
There
around.
we go.
And he told me no, and 3 years ago. And
I need
after
chat
that,
in here and I don't know why I didn't
I
have
went
it
on
in.
about my day. And then I ended up running into someone I'm very close with, and they offered me to stay in their hotel room because I didn't feel comfortable sleeping in mine. So I ended up sleeping at my friend's hotel room for the next 2 nights. And you guys can even tell, you guys can even see on Twitter, if you guys look at my Evo outfits, the first outfit is in a very different hotel room than the other two, and that's because I ended up moving to another hotel. The first one is in the one that I'm with Sykkuno. And I ended up sleeping in the hotel that me and Sykkuno had on the last night because he ended up checking out early. And
Or she's
sleeping
bitching
at
because she's not
his
going to
house.
get it anymore.
So that was the only time I saw him. We ran into each other a couple more times at
I feel
Evo, but
like
we
that's
didn't
the
really see
same with
anything.
Mo.
And
Like she kept saying they
he
should
didn't
break up
really
with the
want to talk
phone
about what
and said she-
happened.
Yeah.
And then I
None of these
struggled with
women
this
have
for a
the
while,
backbone to be out in
and
society.
I had
So
someone in my
this
life.
reminds me of, this makes me think of Bridgerton so much, where the brother is protecting the sister and making sure that the sister gets a good partner and making sure that she's not getting the ones that are going to cheat on her. Like women, stop taking us backwards.
Be there for me and kind of try to help me through this. And my dumbass tried talking about it with Sykkuno later, trying to like understand what happened because it's not something I'm used to. And he pretty much beat around the bush the whole time. And then he would say things like, "Oh, I'm confused. I just wanted to know what you felt about that." And I said, "No, I want to know what you felt about this because I already told you how I felt." And
sorry, Cat and K, but women want so much, but when it gets hard, they play the victim card with no accountability.
He was
yeah,
sorry
I
that he gave me
know.
that impression.
Like, oh my
And
god,
that
they're
he
so
would want
stupid.
to reconcile, and me being the dumbass I am, still wanted to be friends with him for some reason.
Men are becoming the
So I
victims,
did,
and no one is
that's
noticing.
Why we still played games. And
like,
then I ended
Sykkuno
up
is a
seeing him
piece
at
of dirt, but
Comic-Con at
he
the riot party, and we actually
does
talked
not
in
deserve
person for the
this
first time
kind of
since.
allegation.
And he actually brought that part up and said like he was sorry and stuff, and that he was sorry for giving me the impression. So I really thought he was, honestly sorry.
I know, and it's
accepted
so
it, and
sad.
I thought I was the only one because I literally straight up asked him if he sleeps around, and he said no. So sorry, I thought I was the only one. Did I think we were going to be in a relationship? No. I knew how much older he was than me, and I was like, why would he want to be in a relationship with someone much younger? So I didn't really think that, it was going to go anywhere.
I don't know about her specifically, but one of the people in the Google Docs, there was a big Google Doc released here.
I think
one of them said there was a 15-year age gap between
fine.
her and
Like,
him.
We'll just reconcile as friends.
And they made sure
that's
to
that,
bold
and then-
it. Oh, that's it. Interesting. Okay, so there was one more that I wanted to watch that Kat sent me.
Sykkuno puts out a statement. He has finally broken the silence and decided to
Okay, so
speak on the
Sykkuno
situation.
responds.
I would like to apologize to everyone I have disappointed, most of all to my girlfriend. I am so sorry I put you through so much. I never want to make these mistakes again and hurt you and the people I care about. I was unfaithful, and I own and fully admit to that. I lied to people and told them I was single, which I know is not right. I'm sorry to all the people I've hurt by doing this. The following is not an attempt to minimize what I have done. However, I've seen false allegations about me that are not true. I cannot allow
19,
false allegations
still legal,
and such extreme
barely.
labels to be placed on me. I do understand that the people making these claims did it from a place of hurt, so please do not send any more hate to anyone. I just want the situation to get better, and I wish them the best. My girlfriend and I didn't respond quickly because we were already working on our relationship and communication before any of this happened. This has been, I guess they've been working on it for like 5 years, right?
Okay,
and
so
having so much private information exposed to the public has made it incredibly difficult for us to heal together. I will be taking a break from streaming and the internet to better myself and give us the time that we need to try to improve our relationship. Thank you for reading. Now I will continue to learn and grow from this experience.
okay. I hate it tell you, but if she's 18 and consents, it doesn't matter the age of the other party from 18 to 10,000. Okay, so I agree that his response is very well put. I kind of wonder if he got someone to help him with this. He could have done it on his own. He 100% could have done it on his own, but this is a valid response. He is taking accountability for what he did. He says he is taking a break because he is wanting to help his relationship and be with his girlfriend. That is an appropriate response. He had his lawyer put it out? Yeah. I think that could be the thing too, because I don't honestly think that he is going to try to take them to court or trial. I don't feel like he's the kind of person, like he's got the personality to do that. But I think he should. I 100% think that he should. Because in my opinion, women like that who make accusations and allegations like that need to be taken to court. They need a consequence for these actions, because those kind of allegations can completely ruin someone's life. Even if they're false, even if they're proven false. Before they are proven false, that person's life is gone. He has nothing. And I think there needs to be accountability assigned to that. I think that the person who causes that needs to have repercussions. There needs to be some kind of consequence for these allegations. And until we get that, we are not going to have anything but police officers looking into this shit and not being able to do anything. It's not going to go anywhere. It's going to happen again and again and again, and we need it to stop. Well, I don't think he should go to court, but I think they should either redact their statements, submit a public formal apology, otherwise take them to court and seal it. Right, Steve, he does seem like he's an introvert. I don't think his personality is going to lead towards suing them, but I wish it did. I 100% wish it did.
And this is the crazy part about it, okay? My girlfriend wanted to share her experience. Below is a message written by her. Hi there, I want to start by saying thank you to all who have been checking on me and wishing me well during this difficult time. It's been extremely heartbreaking to learn everything that I know now, and going through this has been one of the hardest things I've ever been put through in my life.
She needs all of the support that she can get for this. I think she deserves all of the support that she can get for this. Was she a little dumb? Yes, she was cheated on. She's going to try to work through it with him. That might work. I'm not sure. Sue for slander and spend a lot more on lawyer fees than it's going to be worth. Yeah, so I'm not going to be that person that says because she's giving him a second chance, she deserves to be cheated on. I don't feel like there's a problem giving someone a second chance, especially when they're taking accountability. They're saying, I did this wrong. I know that this is where my mistake was. And as long as what they're saying really is the mistake, then I think there's an opportunity there for a second chance. But you don't take that second chance blindly. Cat, she was De Niro. All she sees is dollars, and she doesn't give a fuck about the sex. Mad at her for staying. I get that they can be mad at her for staying, and I get that people have the personality, and, you know, their personal morals are, if I get cheated on, I will not forgive that person. There will not be a second chance. That may be their morals, and if they stick to that, that's great, because that makes them better than the person that we just watched who said, I don't sleep with people I don't date, and then just, like, as she's saying that, she is doing that. Like, I get it. I understand it, but understand that every person is their own. So let them live their life the way they want to, and if it happens again, then that's on them. That's on them to learn from.
I've been tossed around from all sides. Me and my reality have been continuously shattered. Though no matter
really
how
hope
much I'm
she's
broken,
doing
I
okay,
never
though.
wanted this to be public. It
And I
deeply
hope
hurts
she
me that I
doesn't
wasn't
fully
given a
trust him.
choice in that, or even just warned that this would be happening at all.
Yeah, so she was completely blindsided by this. Exactly, Steve. Like, that is your moral. And I think that your moral is valid. I think you are completely valid and based in that. Right? There is a point where the girl feels different. And, you know, this has been a very public thing for him. So that is something you need to consider, and you need to consider the psychological effect of that. Because this was so public, it may be the thing that makes him not cheat. It may be the thing that helps fix him, because they said he's a fail boy or whatever and needs fixed. He needs someone to fix him. Yep, it is sometimes true. Not always, but sometimes. So you need to be aware of that. And so as Sykkuno, like, Sykkuno should also realize that as they're going through this, there will be a lot of times that he will have to explain himself. If he gets frustrated having to explain himself because she's questioning things, because she's insecure, he is the one that made her insecure. He has to deal with that. If he can't deal with that, then the relationship's not going to work.
didn't want this. So what she's saying is that the entire expose
Right,
for
Steve?
her boyfriend,
Like,
the
that
fact
trust
she was
is
getting
so hard to
cheated
get
on,
back. And it's not just that the trust is so hard to get back. It is hard on both sides when you try to make that work again. Because you've got you who is trying to do the right thing and be the right person, and you've got them who is trying to accept it and accept the apology and accept you for who you are. But at the same time, they're going to wonder, they're going to question, and the other person has to be accepting of the fact that they will have to answer those questions. It is a very tough road, and I will commend them if they succeed.
and all of this going public, she didn't even know it was going to happen. Oh my god. Wow. And even after the fact, I wish they would
glad
have at
that
least
people are
checked on
checking
me
on her.
or asked how I felt about everything, but I haven't heard anything from those people involved since all of this came out. So basically,
And
they used this girl's, the fact that she was getting cheated on, they used it as like a vector to attack Sykkuno. They don't even give a everybody say, oh, she's such a victim, she's such a victim. The people that made all this public didn't even care about her.
yeah, they didn't care about the actual victim in this. The actual victim in this is his girlfriend. I am so glad that she has people to check up on her. And I think it is very sad and disappointing that none of the people that were involved have checked on her to make sure that she's okay. Because if you find out that the person you're dating is cheating on someone, the first thing I want to know is that other person okay?
They didn't even give a fuck about her, which I think is like the most unsurprising thing ever, let's be real. But it's still funny. And I understand those involved with them would have been hurt as well, but I don't believe my feelings were considered in this situation at all. Having my worst fears become my reality, then put on full display and used for profit for everyone to see is absolutely mortifying. It truly feels like a nightmare. It was already hard enough trying to work through things in private. This has just added another layer of difficulty and stress on top of everything. It's made it so much harder for me to cope. Prior to all of this becoming public, we were already
Mel said she talked to the girlfriend, but the girlfriend said people involved didn't
making
check on her.
changes to improve our relationship.
You know, just going and saying, hey, this happened, that's not really checking on her. So they may have talked to her, but they did not care enough to make sure she was okay. And that should have been the first thing on their mind.
And
also, I don't expect that this video will be monetized when I publish it, because I don't expect it to get that many views. If it were to possibly get monetized, I would send that money off to the girlfriend if I could find a way to do that. Not necessarily feared. You're looking at it from a different perspective than what's happening here. I believe the two women in this story are in cahoots to take it. I agree. I can't help it. I agree.
To stay with the hopes of repairing our relationship together. Wow. Even though all the things I've learned are incredibly disappointing and shocking, I don't think they are irredeemable. It's been hard handling things unfolding this way, but I believe this is a step in the right direction. With time, I hope everyone can focus on healing and becoming better versions of themselves. Is he actually
I think that's
guy?
also done by the lawyer.
Dirty dog. Bro, you
So
hook
she
up.
knew she's crying. Why didn't she check on her? She may have. There may have been someone checking on her, because I think there was messages going on in the background. Yeah, a lot of them are feared.
Up and you run game on every fucking girl in the entire community. Your girlfriend comes out and fucking demonizes the people who made it public and says she's gonna stay with you. He is the guy. God damn, man. 10-inch damn at least. Sykkuno puts out a statement.
Yeah, that is my statement on that. The women in that are... The only victim is the girlfriend. I give kudos to her for trying to repair the relationship. I honestly hope that the trouble with Sykkuno that he has gone through is going to fix him. I honestly hope that. But I am not looking for that. And because I am not looking for that, I have no expectations. So there's no room technically for failure, because it's just going to be an outcome. As a part of the group chat with a girlfriend, I guess the group chat could be checking on her, but not Mal herself. She's just sitting there reading. Yeah. And you may be ashamed and you may not want to talk about it. And I can understand that, but you still have a duty to do that. And if you don't do that, then you're falling short on your duty. Hello again, and this is outside of the recording. Thank you for watching my recording of my reaction to the Sykkuno drama. I think I made myself kinda clear with it that I think Sykkuno's a scumbag for being a cheater, but he doesn't deserve the kind of hate that he's getting from these ladies. Anyway, there has been some more drama that has dropped, so I will be reacting to that probably tomorrow, or what will likely be today for when this gets dropped. We will be reacting to Mujin's response, so I hope to see you there. Also, we will be reacting to the DoorDash girl's indictment, or possible indictment. So we shall see. Thanks again. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, and I will see you in the next one. Toodles!